Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good day. Ohayou gozaimasu, konnichiwa. Yokoso. Today is the BCSF Ohigan service. This happens at the autumnal equinox, and it's a time for us to reflect on ourselves and the harmony that we strive to have, inner harmony, inspired by nature, inspired by the balance of equal day and night. And here at BCSF, normally, if we were all together, we would be making ohagi, special treats, which I tried to make for this occasion. I was inspired by that memory of our Sangha ritual. Ohagi is, light and dark. Red anko, red bean anko, and sweet mochi rice. And it's very delicious. And it goes with the theme of Ohigan, light and dark. And so we missed that. So you can imagine and savor those memories of Sangha getting together. Also, normally after our service and having some ohagi, we have a film. And we have a film showing, Saha film, and we have a light lunch. So we do have kind of an Ohigan Sangha festival normally. We hope that today's service will be enjoyable and give you some sense of those Ohigan Sangha festivals that we do have. And I think that you're going to enjoy everything immensely. We're going to be starting with Sutra chanting by Reverend Keisuke Lee-Miyaki, BCSF Minister's Assistant. And we will then listen to a Dharma talk by Reverend Elaine Donlin, also a BCSF Minister's Assistant. And we will then sing a Gatha called Higan I. And the words will be provided for you on screen. And then we will have some closing comments by Chelsea Arita, as well as reading of the Three Treasures. And finally, that will be our Sangha service. I would like to close my opening remarks with the reading of the Golden Chain. I am a link in the Buddha's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I must keep my link bright and strong. I will try to be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself. I will try to think pure and beautiful thoughts, to say pure and beautiful words, and to do pure and beautiful deeds, knowing that on what I do now depends not only my happiness, but also that of others. May every link in the Buddha's golden chain of love become bright and strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu.
Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda, Namanda. We respectfully call upon Amida Tathagata to enter our place of practice, joyfully offering flowers of welcome. We respectfully call upon Shakyamuni Tathagata to enter our place of practice, joyfully offering flowers of welcome. We respectfully call upon Tathagatas of the 10 directions to enter our place of practice, joyfully offering flowers of welcome. On this occasion of the Ohigan service, the Buddhists have reverently come before Amida Buddha upon the autumn equinox, with deepest reverence and gratitude for the all-inclusive wisdom and compassion that is Amida Buddha. We reaffirm the three treasures. Namo Kie Butsu, I take refuge in Buddha, the timeless life of wisdom and compassion, which is source of awakening. Namo Kie Ho, I take refuge in Dharma, the universal truth of impermanence and interdependence, the illuminating light that is the Buddha's wisdom. Namo Kie So, I take refuge in the Sangha, the community of people dedicated to living harmoniously in the universal truth that is life manifesting Buddha's compassion. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. 本日ここにサンフランシスコ仏教会施主となり、うやうやしく三仏検証の昇覧を仰ぎ、慎みて周期お彼岸法要を言修す。如来エコーの真実心をもって、法恩の誠をいたし、仏徳を三端したてまつる。 恋願わくば、如来の大慈大悲心をもって無料の功徳、一切主情の上にエコを下回らんことを。ナモキエ仏、ナモキエ法、ナモキエ僧、ナマンダ仏、ナマンダ仏、ナマンダ仏、ナマンダ仏、ナマンダ仏、ナマンダ仏、ナマンダ仏、ナマンダ仏。Junirai, 12 homages. 慶州天人職業、阿弥陀千両族尊、在未明安楽公、無量仏師周囲年、金色信条如戦の、シャマタ行如造部、両目上脈小蓮華、古賀将来皆尊、面前炎上如満願、以降有如千日が、諸如天空苦しな、古賀将来皆尊、観音将来観知宇宙、十名相諸言、のぶくげどまけまん、古賀将来皆尊、無微無空故症状、修徳経験女国、調査利益徳自在、古賀将来皆尊、実法名門菩薩衆、無量小魔女三段、一生修上願力寺、古賀将来皆尊、本体を見知諸見、前言少女命大座、お膝上如戦の、古賀将来皆尊、実法将来小仏師、権限人図師安楽、戦後尊厳上業、古賀将来皆尊、小無常無我と、薬尿水月蓮よろ、一種説法無名字、古賀将来皆尊、非尊仏説無悪名、薬無尿人悪道夫、中人死心教非尊、古賀将来皆尊、依尊無量法免許、無所修悪知識、往生不大志菩提、古賀将来皆尊、我説非尊功徳寺、中禅無変如海水、 上逆前音上上者平成修上消費公ナマンナムナマンナムナマンナムナマンナムナマンナムナマンナムがんにしくろく平等性祭どんのないしお上ナマンダブス、ナマンダブス、ナモアミダブス、ナモアミダブス、ナモアミダブス、ナマンダブス、ナマンダブス、ナマンダブス、ナマンダブス。Thank you very much for your joining.
Pure Land Buddhism might suggest an otherworldly orientation, but its primary focus is on the here and now. Not the here and now grasped by the controlling ego self, but the here and now cherished as a gift of life itself, to be lived creatively and gratefully, granted us by boundless compassion. The bountifulness of great compassion makes possible our liberation from the iron cage of our own making. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Namandos, Namandos, Namandos. Good morning. Today we are celebrating BCSF's Ohigan service, which is observed twice a year during the spring equinox and the fall equinox, when day and night are roughly equal in terms of length. The equinoxes have been celebrated throughout history in many ancient cultures. I remember visiting Machu Picchu in Peru and seeing an ancient stone monument called Waka, which means sacred. And this massive stone carving served quite accurately as a solar clock to mark the dates of the equinoxes and solstices. And when traveling in the Yucatan in Mexico, I climbed a great pyramid that the Mayans built called El Castillo, and in the ancient city complex of Chichen Itza. And remarkably, this pyramid was built so that on the equinoxes, it looks as if a snake made of light shadows slithers down the pyramid's steep steps from the very top all the way down to the bottom, which is roughly 100 feet or 10 stories. So for many in the past, just as today, the equinox is an opportunity to remind us of our deep connection to the cycles of the earth, and the cycles in nature, the cycles in our life, the cycles of arising and falling away, arising and falling away, as the Buddha referred to it. Last week, we hit the half-year mark since shelter in place was initiated here in San Francisco on March 16th. And during these past 6 months, since our spring Ohigan service, we've experienced the horrific COVID-19 pandemic with over 943 million deaths worldwide. And of course, the 200,000 deaths, and sadly climbing here in the United States. On top of this pandemic, we've also experienced massive wildfires, unhealthy to toxic air qualities, and of course, the largest social justice movement in decades. And in response to all of this, I see an amazing coming together by many people to meet these challenges and to embrace the opportunities as we navigate these unfamiliar and uncharted waters. In Buddhism, there's an expression of the beginner's mind. Suzuki Roshi once said, "In the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities, but in the experts, there are few." So given that most of us were not around during the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic, all of this has had to be approached with a beginner's mind. And with a beginner's mind, we've initiated distance learning for our kids, which isn't a replacement for in-school learning, but it is an opportunity to keep educating them while the pandemic is surging. And for those of us privileged to do so, many of us are now working from home. And we're also now seeing discussions arise around systemic racism in areas that have never really examined their roles in mitigating the inequities. And at BCSF, we too have had to embrace a beginner's mind as we endeavored to keep our community connected with our online YouTube services, our Zoom services, our phone and dial service. We are also now having Zoom board meetings and Zoom committee meetings. And personally, many of us have had to learn Zoom and other meeting platforms in order to just stay connected to our family and our friends. So I approached this fall Ohigan with a tender heart for the life-changing challenges that have unfolded over these past 6 months. And also with a deep appreciation for the grace and compassion that has manifested in keeping our temple community connected with continuity. So Ohigan, which originated in Japan, is really a time to reflect on the nature of our true self, which is deeply hidden behind our self-cherishing, our self-centeredness, our selfishness, that iron cage of our own making, as Reverend Taitietsu Uno explained in the opening passage. Higan translates as other shore, and it's a metaphor for crossing from this shore of blind passions, greed, anger, ignorance, to the other shore of nirvana or perfect peace. By contrast, Higan means this shore and is a metaphor for this shore of samsara, the everyday world in which we live, which is often unsatisfactory and painful. As Shin Buddhists, we are part of the larger Mahayana tradition that teaches the path of the Bodhisattva. The Bodhisattva is a being who, from their very first aspiration of wanting liberation, seeks to attain it not just for themselves, but for all sentient beings. This is truly an appreciation of our profound interdependence and the workings of boundless wisdom and compassion. The expression of the Bodhisattva practice is the 6 paramitas, or perfections, those activities that help to guide one to the other shore of liberation. With the Sanskrit name first and the English translation following, here are the 6 paramitas. The first is called dana, or generosity. It's a practice of giving freely with an open heart to what is needed by others. This could be given with our words, our thoughts, or our actions. The second is sila, morality, ethical conduct. It's developing healthy behaviors. Buddhism encourages the development of the threefold disciplined behaviors of body, speech, and mind. What we say, what we do, and what we think matters. The third paramita is called khasanti, or patience. It's the understanding that that a person who is patient can endure and be able to overcome many difficulties. With patience, we can develop an open heart, allowing frustration and anger to diminish. The fourth is virya, effort or perseverance. It's to strive with one's whole heart, not for short periods of concentrated effort, but continuously over long periods. Spiritual strength enables one to continue on without giving up in the face of difficulties or challenges. The fifth is dhyana, meditation or contemplation. The practice of contemplation helps one to develop the other paramitas. It allows the person to concentrate upon the mind, to learn to understand it, and perhaps even penetrate the mind's delusions and gain some insight into ultimate reality. The sixth paramita is prajna, wisdom or deep insight, to see things as they are without the prejudiced and biased perspectives that come from within. It is the letting go of opinions and concepts that create separation and dualities of you and me, us and them. For me, the six paramitas act as a helpful guide as I walk this path of impermanence and interdependence. My dad was a carpenter, and there's a tool called the plummet. It's commonly known as the plumb bob. And it's a weight, usually with a pointed tip on the bottom, and it's suspended by a string. And it's used in construction as a vertical reference line or a plumb line. And so I often think of the six paramitas as that plumb bob, which provides a reference line, reminding me of the middle way of kindness and compassion. I think the paramitas are especially helpful in these sometimes difficult and always unknown times of our life, when emotions are deep and confusion often arises. In Jodo Shinshu, the emphasis is on expressing gratitude for the working of the primal vow, that bodhisattva vow of great compassion. In the sacred story of our tradition, Bodhisattva Dharmakara fulfilled this vow through the practice of the six paramitas and other great spiritual endeavors. So in Shin, the paramitas are really acts of gratitude for living this present moment in interconnectedness with all living beings. Reverend Earl Ikeda explained that, quote, as Jodo Shinshu followers, our living the Nambutsu life is itself the bodhisattva practice of perfection. As Shinran taught, Nambutsu is the mind of Amida, perfect wisdom and compassion. Normally, our lives are defined by a lack of perfection, by disharmony and struggle. And Shinran himself struggled throughout his life and realized that perfection, which is limitless, could never be achieved through his own limited efforts. He learned that it is only through total reliance on Amida Tathagata, the true reality of wisdom and compassion, that we can understand the meaning of perfection in our lives, unquote. During this fall Ohigan, may we take the time to recall the six perfections of generosity, morality, patience, perseverance, contemplation, and understanding, and consider how they relate to our own life. What is the path we're following? Does it benefit others or only myself? As the working of boundless wisdom and compassion makes itself known, are we moved in grateful response to reconnect with all beings? These are the questions I am asking myself on this fall Ohigan weekend. Please join me in Gassho as we hear the words of Shinran from the hymns of the Pure Land Masters. To take refuge with single-mindedness in the Buddha of unhindered light filling the 10 quarters is, in the words of Vasubandhu, the mind that aspires to attain Buddhahood. And the mind that aspires to attain Buddhahood is the mind to liberate all sentient beings. And the mind to liberate all sentient beings is true and real Shinjin, which is Amida's benefiting of others. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namandots. 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 Thank you for joining us this morning. Let's stay safe and healthy by wearing our masks and maintaining physical distancing. and let's continue to stay connected. Take care.
Hi, I'm Chelsea Rita, and please join me in reading the three treasures. Hard is it to be born into human life, now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the teachings of the Blessed One, now we hear it. If we do not realize the truth in this life, when will it be realized? Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in the Buddha. May we absorb ourselves in the principle of the way to enlightenment and awaken in ourselves the supreme will. I take refuge in the Dharma. May we be submerged in the depths of the doctrine and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in the Sangha. May we live in harmony in the great assembly as disciples of Buddha and be free from all hindrances, becoming units of true accord in a life of harmony in the spirit of universal oneness, free from bondage of selfishness. Even through myriad ages of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of Tathagata's teaching. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. We will now have a message from the BCSF Jr YBA.
Hi everyone, this is a reminder to register for the 2020 census. It is very important that we get as many participants as possible.
Every 10 years, the court mandated by the Constitution and conducted by the U.S. Census Bureau counts the population in the U.S.
The census determines how many representatives each state will have in Congress for the next 10 years and how much funding for roads, schools, housing, and social programs. Each person brings in $20,000 of funding for the district.
It is very important that the Asian community is counted because without it we could lose representation in our community.
It is important that we get 100% participation so all groups are accounted for. the government does not track you down if you're an undocumented immigrant.
The last day to get counted is September 30th. The deadline this year was cut even earlier. You should receive a package in the mail with a form to fill out. You can also go to 2020census.gov to register. If you need help registering, the Japantown Task Force will help you at the Peace Plaza on the following dates.
Thank you, Junirai VA. For the announcements, the BCSF Book Club carries on but is currently in a transitional phase. Please call or email the BCS office for more info. Mindful Meditation with Leo Jocelyn is on Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Please call or email the BCS office on how to participate. We would like to thank Yumi for the opening welcome, Reverend Keisuke Lee-Miyaki for leading the Sutra chanting, and Reverend Elaine Donlin for the Dharma talk. And lastly, thank you to you, our Sangha, for taking care of each other and for staying connected and engaged during this time when we are all apart. We miss you and we hope you are doing well. Thank you for joining us for our virtual fall Ohigan service. Take care, stay safe, and we look forward to seeing you again in the future. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.